Look like the WNBA is starting to feel this boycott.
The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing.
Those are fans saying, I don't want to show up. I don't want to support this. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my money.
This is what the commissioner's doing. While prices just dropped 49%, she's drunk on the dance.
$3 million vanished from the WNBA All-Star Weekend economy in less than 48 hours, and it all came down to one player's injury. When Caitlin Clark announced she'd be sitting out both the All-Star Game and the three-point contest in her hometown of Indianapolis, the weekend turned into an unforeseen financial disaster. Ticket prices plummeted like a crypto crash, falling from $121 to just $64, a brutal 48% drop that sent shockwaves through the entire league.
Why are the tickets moving slow? Why is the price dropping nearly 50%?
These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. She is injured. I have no interest in that anymore.
But here's the part nobody's really talking about. This goes way beyond disappointed fans or cheaper tickets. The WNBA has inadvertently revealed a harsh reality. Their entire business model hinges on one 23-year-old superstar who's now caught in the middle of organizational chaos. If you think the league just uncovered a massive problem, drop a comment with Clark Crisis and tell me, do you believe the WNBA can survive without their biggest star? Now, let's dive into how this financial meltdown unfolded and why it confirms everything we've been saying about the Clark effect.
I knew the CC effect was lit, but Jesus, 50% price markdown during an All-Star Game?
For the people who don't believe in the CC effect, my precious CC, y'all ticket sales went from $262 to $121 to $64 to get in at the door. That is horrible.
And they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league, especially to the All-Star Game.
Key data is clear. Sports Illustrated reported that before Clark's withdrawal, the average resale ticket price had surged to $262, the highest in WNBA All-Star Game history, highlighting the enormous financial stakes involved. Tickets were going for nearly triple the usual All-Star prices, while hotels in downtown Indianapolis were charging 2 to 3 times their standard weekend rates, fully anticipating the biggest event in women's basketball to date. Visit Indy estimated that nearly 70,000 fans would flock to the city over All-Star Weekend, creating at least $10 million in economic activity for Indianapolis, according to tourism officials. When you add up spending on hotels, dining, transportation, merchandise, parking, and other related expenses typical of major sporting events, the sudden $3 million immediate loss felt sharply. And that's just scratching the surface of the deeper structural issues this incident exposed within the league.
And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
So we had one industry source tell us that it's hard to believe that Caitlin is not worth close to $1 billion to the league.
With a B?
With a B, that is $1 billion.
Of course, we think jersey sales, we think ticket sales, but Ben, what else? What feeds into that billion with a B?
You know, significant increases in media rights and franchise valuations over the past couple of years. Ticket sales, big one. The opposing arenas, big one. We had someone tell us that Caitlin Clark right now is making opposing owners 7 figures when she showed.
The secondary ticket market experienced an immediate and dramatic crash following Clark's announcement on July 17th. Platforms like TickPick recorded the steepest price drops ever seen in women's sports. StubHub ticket prices plunged from an average of $126 down to $65 within hours, and SeatGeek showed similar declines across all price ranges. Vivid Seats, which previously listed premium tickets around $400, suddenly had unsold seats priced as low as $51. This wasn't just a minor dip caused by reduced interest. It was a full-blown market panic, illustrating just how much the event's overall worth depended on a single player's presence. The magnitude and speed of the decline surpassed any price drop seen in NBA All-Star Game history, where even the absence of superstars like LeBron James or Stephen Curry typically only results in an 18 to 21% decrease. Clark's withdrawal caused a staggering 48% market crash, underscoring that her economic influence dwarfs that of any other athlete in professional basketball.
Do you think an NBA All-Star Game ticket is going to drop 50% because LeBron's not playing? No! Do you think an NBA All-Star ticket price is going to drop 50% because Joker's not playing? No! Absolutely not!
LeBron James can be injured, Steph Curry could be injured, Kevin Durant could be in, and the prices still will not drop to be this low.
If you go back in history, nobody has carried that league like her. This only her second year. And she been having this aura since high school.
But things get even more concerning when you look beyond just ticket resales and fan speculation. This situation laid bare just how heavily the entire WNBA financial structure relies on a single athlete. Analysts estimate that Clark is responsible for roughly 26.5% of all economic activity within the league, a level of reliance rarely seen in any professional sport. For context, Michael Jordan, at the height of his career and during the NBA's major growth period, accounted for no more than 15% of the league's economic output. The fact that one player in a 12-team league drives more than a quarter of the entire economic engine should raise alarms across WNBA leadership. It signals that the league's current business model is dangerously dependent on one individual, making it vulnerable to collapse, a single point of failure masquerading as a sustainable professional sports operation.
WNBA, pay attention. Pay attention. We saw the viewership drop, ticket sales dropping, attendance dropping.
Kathy don't give a damn about no referees. Kathy don't give a damn about no Caitlin Clark. This says it all.
You know, we've had really big women's basketball stars before, and Caitlin just sort of happens to be perfectly timed to take advantage of all of these changing elements of this marketplace, right? You think about in 2021 is when NIL is allowed for college athletes. So that's when the brands get to come into play, right? And that's when ESPN starts airing every single NCAA tournament game, so you can actually watch them play. And we know when you put things on television, people are going to watch them, right?
The Indianapolis business community had been gearing up for one of the biggest sports weekends in recent memory. Popular spots like the District Tap were bracing for a surge of customers, and the entire downtown area was poised to benefit from what promised to be a landmark economic boost. Hotels in the region were nearly fully booked, with occupancy rates hitting 95% and many establishments sold out weeks ahead, commanding some of the highest rates outside of major conventions or NFL playoff weekends. Local restaurants prepared by hiring extra staff, increasing inventory, and extending their hours to meet the anticipated demand. Retailers stocked up heavily on WNBA gear, especially merchandise tied to Clark, expecting rapid sales. However, as news of Clark's absence spread, these optimistic forecasts quickly unraveled. Fans began canceling hotel bookings and seeking refunds, treating what was supposed to be a premium sports weekend like any ordinary event, not worth the extra costs they had agreed to just days before.
Yeah, I know why tickets prices dropped. Because people quit buying the damn tickets. People was asking for refunds for the damn tickets. So you want to know what they had to do? Damn near give them away, bro.
People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends.
The psychological toll this situation has taken on the league is difficult to ignore. The fallout from the All-Star Game made one thing clear. The WNBA's growth strategy is overly reliant on a single star's popularity, and that foundation now looks increasingly unstable. Industry analysts estimate that Caitlin Clark contributes between $875 million and $1 billion annually in overall economic value, a staggering figure that turns this incident into a major red flag for what could happen if she suffers a serious injury or simply decides she no longer wants to bear the weight of an entire league. This couldn't have come at a worse time, especially with collective bargaining agreement, CBA, negotiations on the horizon. Player union leaders now have undeniable evidence that the league's financial ecosystem hinges on one individual. When those negotiations begin, touching on revenue splits, salary limits, and overall compensation structures, the reality will be hard to ignore. Clark's economic output eclipses that of entire franchises, and that introduces a completely new power dynamic to contract talks, one that women's professional sports has never encountered before.
This is the future of this league. And you wonder why y'all can't get a CBA agreement done. The damn commissioner drunk out there on the dance floor.
Well, what do you think is the driving force in your new media rights deal? It's us, the fandom. That's why that deal got so lucrative, is the people that support Caitlin Clark. We're fed up with being called racist and all this other thing.
I believe Kathy has a systematic placement for Caitlin Clark to get hurt. She said it last year. They need the drama for clicks. Guys, what sells more than anything? Drama. But they're not looking at the longevity of this. Caitlin Clark getting hurt. Caitlin Clark lose her fan base and lose all the hype. Guess what? The league will sink.
What makes this situation especially alarming is that the financial fallout stems from an avoidable injury, one that highlights the growing dysfunction within the Indiana Fever's operations during Caitlin Clark's second year in the league. Unlike a rookie still learning the ropes, Clark has already missed 10 regular season games due to recurring muscle injuries, something that never happened during her stellar college career at Iowa. For 4 years, she seemed almost immune to injury. Now, just months into her professional career, she's sidelined repeatedly. Many are blaming the Fever for not putting better protective systems in place to support their most critical player. The latest setback, a head injury on July 15th in a game against Connecticut, led to her visibly emotional reaction on the court. 2 days later, she announced she wouldn't participate in the WNBA All-Star events. It was a shocking development. The face of women's basketball missing the league's marquee showcase, especially when it was being held in her home state. The announcement had far-reaching consequences. Not only did it deflate fan enthusiasm, but it also triggered a wave of ticket cancellations and public outcry. Many fans had spent thousands on travel and lodging, banking on seeing Clark headline the event. This moment revealed an uncomfortable truth. The WNBA's economic ecosystem has become overly reliant on a single athlete. While other stars like Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu continue to perform at elite levels, the financial impact of Clark's absence was staggering. Within 48 hours of her withdrawal, resale ticket values plummeted, and social media erupted with frustration. Fans posted screenshots of refunds, empty hotel rooms, and canceled flights, all using the hashtag #ClarkEffect to voice their disappointment. Mainstream news outlets quickly picked up the story. Analysts and economists began comparing Clark's financial impact to historic figures like Tiger Woods or early NBA stars like Magic Johnson. But the difference here is that Clark plays in a team-based league, where such extreme reliance on one player creates a dangerously unstable foundation. The WNBA's efforts to promote other talents have yet to reach the same level of commercial success. As a result, Clark's availability now directly affects viewership, sponsor engagement, and even league-wide business decisions. When she's not playing, TV ratings drop significantly, games featuring her average 5 times more viewers than those without. ESPN and other broadcasters reportedly adjust schedules around her availability, illustrating just how deep the dependency runs. Internationally, the league's global growth is also tethered to Clark's brand. Her highlights dominate social media, driving merchandise sales in regions where women's basketball has historically struggled. Her absence at major events like the All-Star Weekend causes gaps in international marketing efforts that are hard to fill with other players, Even sponsorship deals are built around her. Brands like Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson are investing more in her individual appeal than in the league itself. When she's not present for promotional opportunities, those partnerships suffer. This raises uncomfortable questions for advertisers about the long-term viability of their investment in the league. Insiders suggest that some companies are already reevaluating their commitments, factoring in what could happen if Clark suffers another major injury or decides to walk away from the league altogether. Comparisons to other sports, like the PGA Tour's Tiger dependency, offer some context, but golf is inherently individual. The WNBA is not. And that distinction makes the situation more fragile. Beyond business, this hyper-focus on Clark is affecting other players. Athletes like Wilson, who've won MVP titles and led championship runs, receive far less attention, despite their achievements. The media narrative around Clark often overshadows these contributions, making it difficult for the league to build diverse, resilient fan bases. Her fan base is engaged, yes, but not easily transferred. Content without her tends to underperform dramatically. This creates a dangerous cycle where attention and revenue spike when she's healthy, but crash hard during her absences. Grassroots impacts are also significant. Since Clark's rise, youth participation in girls' basketball has increased dramatically. But the league's failure to protect her could create disillusionment. If families see the sport as unsustainable or unsafe for its stars, that growth could reverse. Overseas leagues are already capitalizing on the WNBA's issues, offering better pay and medical support to top American players. If Clark ever chooses to go abroad for better conditions, it could trigger a talent drain the WNBA is not prepared to handle. The economic damage from her all-star absence, estimated around $3 million, is only the beginning. Insurance providers are now revising coverage requirements for WNBA operations, and some are demanding higher premiums due to the league's over-reliance on one athlete. Academics are studying this as a unique case in sports business. Research shows Clark's impact challenges traditional financial models for team sports, raising concerns about sustainability, risk, and competitive balance in women's leagues. On top of all this is the human factor. Clark, just 23, now bears the psychological weight of an entire league's success. Sports psychologists warn that this level of pressure can lead to burnout or contribute to the very injuries the league is trying to prevent. The WNBA leadership is now under scrutiny for allowing this dependency to develop. Critics argue that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and others failed to diversify the league's growth strategy and ignored early warning signs. The All-Star Game fiasco wasn't just a fluke. It was the result of strategic missteps and poor risk planning.